What is going on, everybody who's having a great day, great night, wherever you're watching this from? Let's talk about the gray areas in our relationship, the things that we ignore, the things that we don't want to acknowledge. We want to, put ourselves in a position that makes us, second guess certain things. Let's just talk about that, all right? Number one, when they get comfortable not having you around, when somebody gets comfortable you not being around, because you don't want to give them the time and the attention that they're requiring, you cannot expect for your relationship and your marriage to grow. You can expect for the person to be able to play their role because they're not receiving what they want to receive from you. Everybody's love language is different. Each one of us require attention. Each one of us require, love. And, some people, they require the bare minimum. Some people, your presence is all they need, and they're okay with it. But even within that, there has to be more, because you just being around in their life, they really don't have no identity of what you all possess. So there has to be more than just your presence. There has to be more than just them being around. You want them around, but they make excuses for the reason why they cannot give you what you deserve. This is one of the gray areas. When they get comfortable not asking you for love or attention or affection, there's not a gray area. Because what takes place after that is, prepare for your relationship to bottom out. People it's so easy for us to get exhausted. People get divorced every day. People walk away from relationships every day because people refuse to accept the challenges and the changes that have to take place and manifest within the relationship. We cannot continue to allow ourselves, and we cannot continue to make excuses for the things that we should be doing with the person that we love. You see, you can't say you love someone, but you don't want to be around them. You don't want to be affectionate. You don't want to give them the attention that they need. These things right here are crucial. How do you expect to build with someone if you're not able to give them what they deserve and what they need? It takes a lot. Yeah, we all got to work. We all got to be away from home. And even when we're not away from home and when we're home, we still are very distant. And we don't see that distance. That distance right there, it leaks over because the person wants more of you. They want their relationship to evolve. And if this is taking place, I will advise you all to get help. But we're going to continue to go on. And you're going to see possibly some of the gray areas that, you're probably dealing with also. They make excuses for why they cannot change. They're always making an excuse for why they can't change. This is just how I am. I grew up like this, and I've never seen my parents love. And I grew up in an environment where, I didn't understand love. And I got, I was involved in this, and all my relationships were failures, and they continue to go on and go on for the reason why they can't change. But yet still, they say they love you. If they cannot change, then they have to get help. They need to read books. They have to do all these things, because the thing about it is that we will change for everybody else. We will make adjustments for everything else in our life, but the person that we love, we want to continue to make excuses. We will change for our job. They change SOPs all the time for our job. They make adjustments on our job, and we change for our job because we know that we have to get paid. We put our efforts and our energy into our work. We put our efforts and our energy into friends and family. But when it comes to the person that we love, we can't change for them. We can change, but we're only going to change for the benefit of ourselves. And even if we do change to make them happy, it's still going to, put you in a bind, because you feel like you are tapping out, and you feel like it's going against your pride, or it's going against what you want. Maybe you was in past relationships where, a man was very controlling. And so here you are, another relationship, and he's pointing out these areas that have to be adjusted, and they're pointing them out, and you're saying, I can't change because I don't want to change, and I'm tired of changing for someone, and why in the world I got to change for you because that's so unfair. Every time I turn around, you trying to change me, or she trying to change me. My ex tried to change me, and that's all she talked about. My girlfriend tried to change me, and that's all she talked about. My mother did the same thing growing up, and now I'm grown. I'm a grown man, and I'm a grown woman, and now you want to change me. Change is vital, you all. It is important. You have to do you have to do daily assessments. You have to make sure that you all are working towards the same goal. And it's important for you all to do this because the problem is that we become so complacent and comfortable in our marriages and our relationship that we wonder why we're having so much of a disconnect is because we're not working on the areas that we have to change for each other. And it's not until you sit down with a counselor or a therapist or a relationship life coach that are able to point out these gray areas that you all can't see. And then you're like, oh, wow, I didn't know it. I didn't know that this was a problem. I didn't know that that was an issue. And it becomes a bigger issue if it's not dealt with. Let's move on. Another gray area, refusing to talk about the issues. They refuse to talk about the issues. They dance around them all the time. Every time you bring up an issue, they feel like you're attacking them or you're starting an argument. But these issues are issues that are affecting me. They're affecting us. They're affecting our growth. They're affecting us moving forward. These are the areas that have to be dealt with. And if these areas are not dealt with, then we can never be happy together. And that's the issue with a lot of couples is that they don't want to talk about the issues. They want to move past the issues. You know, to be honest with you, money's not going to solve the issue. Sex is not going to solve the issue. Gifts are not going to solve the issue. Vacations are not going to solve the issue. The issue is still going to come back around, and it's going to come back around full circle. And when it presents itself, it's going to be something different, magnified, and you're going to remember, oh, we didn't deal with this, but here's something else. And if you don't deal with that, you're going to move on to the next thing, and it's going to be something else magnified. Oh, this is something new, but we didn't deal with the last thing. And then you're going to go back to another whole year later, and then you did this. And then people would normally say, well, they're not over it. No, it's not about them being over it. It was never dealt with. And I think that's a big issue also. Another gray area is comparing them to your ex. This is very common in relationships because we're always looking for the red flag. And if we had, a bad breakup, bad divorce, and other things that we had to deal with or whatever, we're always comparing our situation and the issues that we're facing with what we have already dealt with in life. And you will hear people say this all the time. I don't want to go through what I went through, and that's okay. But what we're dealing with is something new. You're not going to go through the same thing. I think more than anything else, let's talk about what you went through so we can make sure you don't go through it. Don't wait till something is presented or we're in a certain, situation to where you're mad and you're frustrated and you say, you acting just like my ex. My ex tried to change me. My ex tried to make me do this. My ex tried to make me be emotional and affectionate, and that's just not me. And you can't be that way. You have to understand that you cannot compare the person to your ex. You can talk about situations. It's humiliating. It's disrespectful. And the person, a lot of people, they cannot stand that because every time you turn around, you're always talking about your ex. And the first thing they're going to say, are you over your ex? Is there something that you're trying to tell me? Do we need to go sit down and, get some help so you can get over this? I mean, we got in a relationship, we got married, and you're still talking about things from 5 and 6 years ago. You're still talking about what they did last and the things they didn't do or whatever. You have to move past that and stop using that as an excuse. Deal with these gray areas. All right? Another thing is always talking about what you missed out on in life. You're always talking about, I got married at a young age and I didn't know how to love and I missed out on this and I missed out on that. Now, hold up. You can't blame the person for what you did when you was younger. That's the life you chose. Now you're in a committed relationship with them. and you got married years ago, and you done started something new with somebody else, but you're still harvesting issues. You're still harvesting feelings. You still have some unresolved things that you have to deal with from the past. And you're always talking about what you've missed out on life. Life is great. You haven't missed anything. You've learned from it. Just take it as a learning tool. Don't throw up in your partner's face what you have missed out on life. Because if you continue to talk about the things that you've missed out on, it does nothing more than bring resentment and hurt and pain within what you all are trying to build. Because the first thing they're going to think is that, wow, they're not over their past. All right? Another gray area is making decisions without talking it over with them. And we see this very often within relationships. People will, instead of talking to the person that you love and, doing certain things, we become so selfish. We become self-centered. We do things without talking to the significant other. You have to make sure that you're not doing this because, I'm going to give you a great example. Maybe you're taking a job that pays more, but this job will keep you away from each other for a very long time. You still have to talk it over with the person. Maybe, your mother wants to borrow your car. Maybe your mother wants to, you got a family member that wants to stay. And you say, yeah, you can come stay with us. And the person shows up and says, oh, baby, I forgot to tell you, such and such is coming to stay with us. We have to make sure that we talk about things because our relationship and our marriage is a priority. We have to make sure that, the adjustments that we make in our marriage and our relationship, that we include every decision. They're a part of every decision within our life. We just can't do things because we want to do it. We can't do things because it makes us feel good. We cannot do things because we want to do it. Because if you want to live that kind of life, then you need to stay single. If you want to, take a job that pays more, that keeps you away longer, if you want to, make decisions without them and do things without them, then you need to be single. Because anytime you're involved with someone and you love them, it's a joint effort. It's a team. You work together as a team, and it's very important. Very important. You can't do anything by yourself because what happens is that the choices that you make, when it comes to you making that choice for the both of you all, it not only affects you, but affects the person. And it puts a wedge between the both of you all right? The very last thing I wrote down is refusing to get help. I know a lot of us, we don't like talking to therapists. We don't like talking to psychiatrists. We don't like talking to relationship life coaches and life coaches in general. We don't like doing that because it makes us feel like, we don't know what we're doing and we don't need no help. But all of us need help. All of us need to sit down between 3 to 6 months to talk about what we're dealing with head on. There are just some things that you can't say to her, and there are some things I can't say to her, or she can't say to you, or she can't say to me when it comes to what we're battling, because they're going to take it the wrong way. They're going to feel like we're attacking them. They're not going to understand what we're talking about. They're going to look at things from their perspective, and they're going to say they're always complaining. They're always talking about what I'm not doing. And, it's going to be they're going to be so defensive. And that's when you go sit down and you talk to someone that is in the middle and they're able to, be the mediator between the both of y'all, and they're able to try to get you all to see each other's, differences between each other. And I feel that this is very important, you all. It is impossible to have a successful relationship if we don't deal with these gray areas, if we don't get the help that we need, if we're not responsible, if we, don't pay attention to, when a person is comfortable with not communicating with you, comfortable with not being around, making excuses for not wanting to change, refusing to change, refusing to talk about the issues, dealing with the problems, comparing them to your ex, always talking about what they missed out on their past, and not getting help, and making decisions for themselves. These are the areas that we have to deal with. And I have a long list of other things that I will be given to you all, presenting to the table. I feel that we have to be a little bit more understanding when it comes to what we are trying to build. All right. So I need you all to think about that. Last but not least, always remember, this is only a moment of your life. God is bigger than this moment. And that's the reason why we got to continue to press. Have a blessed and wonderful day.